Hey guys, yesterday we started on a verse, simply verse 27, whatever happens, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. And I don't think I did a great job on that because I need to take one more day just to push this one home. I was just thinking after I did yesterday's devotion of some of the great heroes that epitomized this principle of whatever happens, they're whatever kind of people, they will still glorify Christ. And my mind went to that wonderful Old Testament character of Joseph. Joseph, who came from the favored place, his father's favorite son, coat of many colors, had it ripped off him, sold as a slave into Egypt. But whatever happened to him, he still chose to follow God and to glorify him in an Old Testament kind of way. He then was made as a steward, and even when he lived at a much better level than he was before, he still glorified God. He didn't let all the good that Potiphar was able to give to him, spoil him. He still was a whatever type of person, even when he had plenty and even when he had wealth, it did not take him away from it. And then somebody lied about him, and he ended up in prison. He didn't leave his whatever principle behind back in the palace. He took it with him into the dank, dark prison of where he was. And this prison guard was so impressed with this whatever type of person that he said, man, something significant about you. Something is really different about you. I need to promote you. I need to learn from you and find out what it is that makes you tick. So he promoted him. And then he was left in prison, but ultimately he had some dreams and some visions, and never do we ever read, whether it was poor or plenty, of Joseph ever not living out the whatever kind of lifestyle. Ultimately, he became like the prime minister to Pharaoh, the big dog of Egypt, and he became like second in command. And you can tell he's a whatever kind of a person because of his ability to forgive. And his brothers came into town. You know the story well. And the brothers were coming there because it was a drought and it was a miserable place. And Joseph recognized them, and now he had power. He didn't need to be a whatever kind of a person now because he had the power to do what he wanted to do. He could have them all wiped out, and he could have reminded them about the tough time that they had given him, and that he could have blamed them and thrown them into prison or had them executed. He could have done that. But the interesting thing about whatever type of people is they're great forgivers. They know that whatever somebody else has done against me could well have been God's will for me in order for me to be where God's will would want for me to be. And so when Joseph revealed himself to his brothers, and they were petrified because they said, no, well, now we're toast, we're dead. He's going to wipe us out. And he would be right in doing that because we were so mean to him. And Joseph said to them, whatever you have done to me, you intended it for evil, but God intended it for good. Whatever you have done to me, you intended for evil, but God intended it for good. Whatever type of people have a great view of God. They understand his sovereignty. They understand that he has the last say in all matters. They have this view of God that nothing that can ever happen to us happens to us outside of the will of God. God has the control over us. In life, in death, God will always have the final say. Certainly, we live out the consequence of stupid choices that we may make. But at the end of the day, God can even redeem those to make us glorify him in a situation we never ever thought that we would be. Don't you love that? I love that about God. I love that about whatever type of people, whether there's plenty or whether there's nothing. It doesn't matter at all. They will continue to glorify God. Cheers, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.